good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are around the world watching. This is Soarin Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Alan Pina, along with co-host and great friend of mine, Braydon Wilson. Today we're bringing back a series that catapulted the reason why we started this podcast, and but we're gonna do it in a different take. We're gonna start with the rivalry series, and rivalries always bring the best out of people, the best out of teams, and even can bring some physicality on and off the field or court. And so we're gonna start off talking about soccer rivalries, especially the biggest rivalry that there is to talk about around the world. El Clasico between Real Madrid and Barcelona. And to do that, we brought in a guest, someone who I've known him for a long time. Not just a great friend of mine, but also he is someone who wears the colors of Barcelona proudly. And even though I sometimes give him a hard time why his team sucks, but I love him to death. He's not just my friend, but he's also my brother-in-law. That is Jacob Martinez. How you been, Jacob?
I've been good, bro. It was probably since the past 5-6 years, Barcelona and Real Madrid had a rivalry as usual, but they got different players. They got young players coming in, so it's not the same as I used to be 10 years ago, but still, it's always a great game to watch.
Oh, absolutely, and we will talk about that more about that. That's good that you're doing good. But Braydon, how are you? How you been doing?
Been doing all right. Yeah, just got finals with the second to last semester of college. Got some cleaning that I got to do later today.
Oh,
So yeah, it's just been
cleaning.
rough. It's going to be a stressful week, but hey, it's all good.
Well, that's good. Yeah, it's same boat. It's just one final, but it's just a good presentation. Then work, which I'll be doing that starting Wednesday at the school district in Texas. But other than that, everything's good as well. And well, let's get down to it if there's anything else. But before we start that, we're just going to search some news according to the soccer world. Tomorrow are the first legs of the Champions League. So go check it out. We're going to have ourselves games that are going to be tough and physical, and it'll only get better from there. And also, Sergio Ramos will not play in their game against Liverpool and in El Clasico. So we will talk about that impact. What does that mean for Real Madrid? Not just moving forward in El Clasico, but also moving forward in the Champions League. So let's get right down to it then, talking about El Clasico. So, like, El Clasico, basically, it's the biggest game that you could think of when it comes to soccer. And it's one of those that when you know it's on, it's on. So, Jacob, how do you normally prepare for El Clasico as a fan?
As a fan, buy some talkies and root beer. No, I'm just messing. So I usually go online and see what's the lineup gonna be up. Like, for example, the players are gonna be playing, the defenders that are gonna be there. So that kind of helps me out on, you know, give me a perspective on which team has the more advantage. Because some players might be injured, some of them might not be going. Like you said, Sergio Ramos is not going, and that is a key element in that team. So that's what I usually do. Make sure who's going to play on that specific game.
Okay, so looking at the lineup, looking at who is playing who, how do you feel about how the analysis of the game when you look at the guys who are doing the commentary, the halftime commentary? How do you feel like the tone is?
What's as usual, it's going to be a really close game. Honestly, I haven't watched a Classico in a long time, since COVID happened and all that crazy stuff. But I'm sure it's going to be a good game.
All right, okay. So basically, the El Clasico, like, you just view everything. Like, it is one of those games where You just watch the analysis. You just watch how players do. You watch even the fans like during the week. You trash talk. You go for it, and that's what it is. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add to that, Braden.
No, like I just think, like I'm still new to this rivalry personally, but like with any other rivalry as a fan, when you prepare, like if you have superstitions, you start follow those superstitions. Like you just do what you feel you need to do, and then you look at lineups, see who's playing. If your favorite player is injured on the team, that just sucks. But yeah, it's always interesting, and like Jacob was saying, with COVID happening, a lot of these big games all around the world have been canceled with a lot of these rivalries, and that's been an element to it. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out this year.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always COVID has changed a lot of things, especially in a Classico where now it's like, where's the hype? Where's the adrenaline? And but normally when non-pandemic year, um, it's all about just like you bring it, and the history between these two, like like they are who they are because of the identity. Like Barcelona, like you always every time Jacob, you always say like Visca Barça and Visca Catalunya. You always say that, and I'm like, oh man, stop saying that. Like why? But if you look at why they say that, it's because their history. Like they don't associate themselves with Spain a lot. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, Jacob. They associate themselves more with the Catalan pride. Like they. That's why they've always tried to get the independence from Spain. So that's where you have that rivalry between Barcelona and Real Madrid. It's more than just the politics. It's then I mean, the game. It's more about the politics, and I think that is why this rivalry, like now, it's died down, but still, you can feel like or Catalonians just wanna like show that hey, we don't need Spain to be the best. Like we got our support from the people.
Yeah, like you said, they get the support from the people, and I know for me it will be less motivating to play an important game. And not have fans there in the stadium. We've
Mm-hmm.
noticed that through the past years. When Barcelona played against PSG, and the crowd just went wild when they were about to beat them up and switch the entire game. So I guess Barcelona needs to have the mentality, even though they don't have any fans, uh, supporting them in the stadium. They can probably win this game, hopefully. But we'll see. We'll see who has the most motivation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just
Go
going to
ahead,
add,
Braden.
like that's been the case with a lot of these COVID seasons, is players having to figure out how to get themselves motivated and that adrenaline flowing, with these big games, or just in general. We see it all across the sports world, that the fans not being there has really been affected, or has really affected the play of these athletes, and really, in a sense, kind of made the game different. And the teams that have done well have been able to overcome that in a large sense. So it's going to be interesting to see how which team is going to be able to overcome the fact that there's no fans there, whether it be in Barcelona or Madrid.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's all about the fans, really um really like that's how they always played, whether it be in Madrid or Barcelona. Like that's always huge. And but obviously we'll be fans watching at home, with our takis or whatever food we're thinking of. Um, but yeah, I think the biggest thing that has changed at Clasico, like it's just the fact how it's not the same as it was even 7 years ago, like even or ever since Ronaldo left, but it wasn't like 7 years ago where pretty much when you're watching El Clasico game, it's like, hey, you watch El Clasico game, and and you could tell these stories, Jacob, as well, like those years when it was Pep Guardiola versus Jose Mourinho leading those two squads. What was the what's it called? The highlight, like the things that really was like, oh man, look, like this is just the craziest games I've ever seen.
Yeah, so back in the day, where you had Barcelona, where they started from the goalkeeper, passing the ball all the way to the forward, and they would pass around the ball, and then would end up scoring. But you got Mourinho's different tactical um, form of playing, which is just like like boom, let's go get them. So basically, they would do like 4 or 6 passes, and they would score. So they all had the different tactics, but they pretty much gave us a really really good game after that.
Okay, what would you say about how Real Madrid played during that period? Would you kind of say was it physical or was it dirty, as some people would say? How would you say about that?
Honestly, I think it was they have phenomenal players. They they usually buy the best players out there because they have the money. And Barcelona is the other way around. They like to bring them from the cantera. Like from the school
Like
when they
the
were young.
academies.
Yeah, the academies. So that was the only difference, but it was always a clash of titans. It was always a great game. But like I said, today will be a good game. Or I think they play Saturday, right? Or
They play
Sunday,
Saturday, yes.
Saturday. So um, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just want to ask Braydon, and there's more that you can add into this. Like how does at times playing style make a rivalry better? Because obviously we mentioned how during those periods from 2009 to 2013, also during that, would you say that playing style has a role into how rivalries
I mean,
start?
it definitely can. If we'll get into it later when we talk about it, but if we look at the Colorado Avalanche Detroit Red Wings rivalry, it all started with what Detroit thought was a nasty hit back in the 90s, and a
Mm-hmm.
cheap shot at that. And I'm not saying that was the Avs playing style, but it definitely might have been that player's playing style. So it can be anywhere from one player's style to the team style. It can be anything from regional playing styles, regional politics, like we've talked about. Like it all really, excuse me, just depends on what's going on and how we look at things. Or really, it can also be fans too that start a rivalry too. Like uh, we it that kind of brings in the political aspect of it too. Like uh, so there can be a number of different factors, but for sure playing styles can be one of them.
Playing styles, yeah, and that's what makes this El Clasico great. Like you have a lot of history between these two. Like they like ever since the Franco regime, which is like one of the toughest Spain had, like it played a role like into how like Barcelona had to survive. It wasn't just about like like their club. It was about everybody who lived in that area, and that's why even when Johan Cruyff, who's the famous the great soccer player who created the identity of how Barcelona plays now, like he stated, um, like when the reason why he signed with Barcelona was because, and not Real Madrid, was because Real Madrid is more of a Franco. It's more the team of Francisco Franco and not of Spain. So that's why he's like, oh, screw him. I'm not going to sign there. I'd rather sign with a club that cares not just of the players, but also cares about everybody. And that's why Johan did what he did and made Barcelona like better.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. So, what else you want to get into El Clasico? Anything that really stands out, or
Are
any
there
question?
any are there any other injuries that would not? I guess any players that won't be able to make
Well,
it
we'll
this year.
find out about Barcelona. They're playing today versus Osasuna. I think I'm not sure.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
not.
so.
I'm not sure who they play, but basically, if Leo Messi gets a yellow card, he won't play. Pretty much. So we're gonna have ourselves a different Clasico than probably ever, you know? And yeah, pretty much like that's how like it has changed El Clasico, I would say. Like we're not like in the point, oh, like let's see who else is let's see who's gonna get hit, who else is gonna fight. We're now at a point like who is playing and who is playing. Some of them have been there since those times. There's still a lot of them, but I really do think that what El Clásico will have to adapt or will have to do later on is to start refreshing themselves again, like to become who they want to be. So I think that's what I truly do believe for El Clásico to get back, which it's always a game, always will get the ratings, but if the only way that could happen is they got to refresh their players. They have to start looking for new blood that's going to help them carry on to the next generation.
Yeah, true that. So I already looked that up, and they play with Valladolid. So
Oh,
hopefully,
Valladolid. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's La
hopefully
Liga matchup that will happen.
Mhm.
And yeah, anything anything else, Braydon, about it about this section about a Clasico, or even like what we just talked about?
No, I got nothing to add really. But yeah, so it all really depends on players, what players you have coming in, what players you have coming out. Penalties are going to play a major role in this game, as with any rivalry. So it's just going to be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, it will be. Now, for both of you, like seeing how Real Madrid has become, um, what was it? How has it like not having Ronaldo? Like, do you feel like not having that star? I wouldn't say star because everybody's a star on that team, but having that superstar like guy, like how important is that for a team?
Well, honestly, I think it was back in the day. They rely on Ronaldo to score the goals. They rely on Ronaldo to pass, the important passes, even to take the penalty shots. So they gotta stop doing that and relying on the players that they have now, right now, which they got good players right now. But like I said, I mean, Messi will eventually leave Barcelona one day, who retire. So I guess the clubs have to make the assumptions that they won't have those players anymore. So they gotta have new recruits, new young people coming in, and teach them the right way to play, like their clubs used to play back in the day. So, well, hopefully we expect a a good match, good game, and hopefully Barcelona wins this time.
I don't know if they will win. I doubt it. I think it's, but yeah, it's just a
Let's
Clasico. What was it?
let's make a bet. You shave yours, I'll shave
So that
mine.
means Alan's going to have to shave his head twice now, huh?
I know, right?
I have to think about it. I made a promise in a recent episode. I was gonna shave my head, but
Are you?
that's for
Oh,
something else. I'm like, then I have to shave it twice. I don't know how long can my hair take.
we'll
Now,
shave our
come on. We
nipples.
got to keep this
Oh
somewhat
no!
G level and able to be
Oh,
posted
You wax
online.
it. You wax it, Alan.
yeah, come on. Uh-uh. We'll think of something. How about that? We'll think of
All right.
something off camera. But that's another thing. You place bets on these games. Like it may not be money, but it may be say just simple stuff that I think makes a Clasico better. Like it's just one of those where yes, it does get heated. Yes, it does get like like emotions run high, but also at the end of the day, you just put your head high and move forward. And really, I think what a Clasico does is just brings people together, and it's one of those games where like you just circle to watch. And I think those that have not watched Real Madrid and Barcelona play, go watch it this Saturday. I do invite all of you to go watch it. Go see for yourself. I know it's going to be different, but see for yourself why people do care about this game. Why people do want to um like why people talk about it as if it's like the huge game. So I invite all of you to watch it this Saturday wherever you can, wherever you are at. You're going to watch a heck of a game. You're going to watch a game that will take you off your seat a lot of times. So I don't know if there's anything else to add to our segment here.
Well, I think we covered pretty much, the main issues, the main players. So, like you said, can't wait for the game.
Yeah, Braydon, anything you want to add or any questions that you would like to ask?
Well, I think the biggest thing I think with any rivalry is the bragging rights, right? And we've kind of been hinting at that just right now, and maybe we wrap it up with this. But like, you know, across all sports in a rivalry, there's sometimes like a trophy involved of who gets it, especially at like collegiate levels. There's obviously there's bragging rights. Um, so like, I guess the question is, what does the El Clasico have that kind of makes it unique in the sense of a rivalry? Does it have like a certain trophy that gets passed back and forth? Obviously there's bragging rights, but like, what is the overall impact that these games play besides just a regular game that happens?
I'm gonna let Jacob answer this question.
Well, mm, there's always a rivalry between those teams, uh, and honestly, it's like 50-50 chances. They might get the trophy, and the next game they might get the trophy. So it's like a 50-50 chance.
Yeah, and also another thing is a lot of those games they actually decide who's gonna win La Liga. Pretty much, I would say 85% of the time. A lot of these games, it's like they decide who who's gonna win La Liga just because like they're two of the best teams in the league. Obviously, you cannot dismiss Atletico Madrid and Sevilla, but those two, they're always 1-2 when it comes to the league. And pretty much, like, you cannot afford to lose, like, both games because it does decide who who does lift the La Liga trophy. So that's why it's and makes it huge because it's a must win game. Like like you gotta go after it, like win it. And and really that's what makes it special. Like you beat Barcelona, like or say Barcelona beats Real Madrid, you pretty much won La Liga. Now it doesn't happen all the time, but it just gives you that assurance that hey, you're still alive to win the league, and so it helps in the tie breaking and goal differential. So that's what makes it special. It's like, hey, you want to win the league, you better beat your rival. You do that, everything else will take care of itself. So I think that's what makes it special. What makes a Clasico one of the best rivalries that I think people should look into. Like it's one of those rivalries. Like there's a lot of history between those two.
Yeah, and I think this was the perfect rivalry to start off with when it comes to this particular series. And it's going to be interesting to watch. And like you're saying, Alan, a lot of these rivalries that we're going to talk about, if you when they're at both teams are at their peak, if you win the games or the series or whatever sport we're going to talk about in this series, if you win, the you beat the rival. Usually, you go on to either win a championship, win the division, win everything. So there's a lot riding on these things.
Yeah, I do agree with that. And so I don't know. Is there anything else you want to add, Jacob, before we wrap up?
Uh, no, but I'm very positive that we'll be able to win this game this time. We'll see.
Okay. All right. That's great to hear. We're gonna have ourselves a heck of a game. This is why we love rivalries. Like it's just bragging rights. It's just um, you just root for your team with all your soul and heart. And at times your life becomes like that team. And Jacob will tell you by firsthand experience how when we played soccer, I wanted to step on his feet, tackle him, not like in football, but just like move him aside. He knows it. So this is why you embrace those rivalries just because of that. Um, so there's not much to add. We'll end with this. So go watch the Clasico um, this Saturday, wherever device stream, wherever. And Jacob, thank you for joining us. It's a great topic talking about, and you're always welcome to come when we talk soccer. And I know Barcelona will lose, so thank you, Jacob. You're the man.
You too, Alan. You too, man. You've been a Real Madrid fan since like you were 6 years old. So
Pretty much a little bit. 9 years old. You're right. Awesome. All right. We'll talk to you later, Jacob.
all right, guys, have a good one.
You too. Thanks for
You
coming,
too.
Jacob.
So, go ahead.
Yeah. So everybody still listening, that's going to wrap up this debut episode of Rivalries, as we're going to call it. We might bring on guests, we might not, depends on what happens. But yeah, so keep tuning in. Our next episode is going to be about Ulf Sterner and his impact on the NHL. So stay tuned for that. Alan, anything else you want to talk about before we wrap up?
Well, just remember the Champions League quarterfinals are going to start tomorrow and Wednesday. So check it out. The first leg will start. So go ahead, watch them, enjoy it. We're gonna have ourselves a heck of a week of soccer. Stay tuned for our episodes on the first international player in hockey, and we'll continue forward with famous soccer rivalries. So till next time, have a great day and keep it positive as always.
Stay safe, everybody.